nation, all over the world. Concerning this COVID-19 situation, the pandemic that is there, what does the Word of God say? We have panelists lined up for this conversation, but before they introduce themselves, I'd like us to bow down and pray. Mighty and everlasting Father, we thank you. We give you the glory, we give you the praise, the worship, the honor, and all the adoration. There is none else like you. The Spirit of God, we ask you, come and take over, come and take charge. Let somebody be encouraged this night. Let somebody encounter you. Let a life be transformed. Let a heart be encouraged. All to the glory of your name. We thank you and we bless you in Jesus' name. Amen. My panelists, let us introduce ourselves. Amen.
Now I will start with Mr. Michael. He is currently the representative chair or the head of the Dubai Chamber of Commerce here in Nairobi. So, Mr. Michael, hi, can you hear us?
I can hear you well.
Right. Kindly go ahead.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Let me first of all begin by saying it's a wonderful thing to be here online. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. It's a wonderful thing to be here joining in this platform to discuss, of course, the topics as are more so on the impact of COVID. Just like Pastor Jacob has said, my name is Michael Gaitho and Chief Representative of Dubai Chamber International Office in Kenya. And our organization basically focuses on providing market intelligence for Dubai companies that are looking at investing in Kenya and the East African region. And we equally also support companies from this part of Africa who are looking at doing business or even investing in Dubai. Also, we are focused on identifying opportunities that are within the two respective regions and effectively connecting companies to do business in between the two regions. And we are a network of offices around the world. We have offices in Africa, 4 of them. Kenya covering the East African region. We have offices in Ethiopia covering the greater north of Africa. We have offices in Ghana covering West Africa, and of course, offices in Mozambique covering South African region. And outside the continent, we do also have other offices. This is just to tell you that our network is very in terms of global coverage, not only connecting countries to Dubai, but of course, having Dubai as a footprint to the rest of the world.
Wow. Great. Thank you for joining us. We have Mr. Sam Washira. Sam, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Good. Tell us more about you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Jacob, for hosting this. As Jacob has said, my name is Sam Washira. I am in the ICT sector. What we deal with is what we call cybercrime, cybersecurity, some IT automation. So we are one of a kind currently in Kenya and combating a lot of cybercrime, what people like to call hacking in the IT or the ICT sector. And we are blessed to be face at one of the frontiers in this nation. So we are thanking God for this opportunity and this time and season to venture into this industry and pretty much secure most of our infrastructure in our country and also in the business.
Great, great. So 2 seasoned business people. We have Sam, who is in ICT cybersecurity, doing something different. And we have Michael from the Dubai Chamber of Commerce with vast experience also. Now, before we continue further than that, the praise team is ready for us, and I hear them singing a praise song. So let's join them, and we'll be back shortly. God bless.
When Jesus came down, he came down from heaven. When he landed in Israel. There was trouble, he came down to Africa. So we must praise him in an African way. When Jesus came down, he came down from heaven. When he landed he landed in Israel. There was trouble, he came down to Africa. So we must praise him in an African way. Kaiwa kwa kaiwa pae, kaiwa kwa wewa magegania, kaiwa kwa kaiwa pae, kaiwa kwa wewa magegania. We monene wewa magegania, we monene wewa magegania. Kaiwa kwa wewa magegania, kaiwa kwa kaiwa kwae, kaiwa kwa wewa magegania. Wabarario wewa magegania, wabarario wewa magegania. So we must praise him in an African way. Kimaloma, ewanu atio, kimakodoloma, ewanu atio negina. Kimaloma, ewanu atio, kimakodoloma, ewanu atio negina. Ewanu atio, negetena mubara, ewanu atio negina. Ewanu atio, negetena mubara, ewanu atio negina. Kimaloma, ewanu atio, ewanu atio negina. Kimaloma, ewanu atio, kimakodoloma, ewanu atio negina. Ewanu atio, negetena mubara, ewanu atio negina. Ewanu atio, negetena mubara, ewanu atio negina. So we must praise him in an African way.
Thank you for that praise team. God richly bless you. So let's get into this, guys. So with the new coronavirus or the new COVID-19 situation, what's the business environment like? What's happening, whether in your sector, whether in your sectors of people you know? Give us a feel as the business people. I think we'll start to do some. What's going on in the IT entrepreneurship area?
In the IT, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, one of the areas I think that is experiencing a boom or more of where most people are actually going to at this time of the COVID-19 is the IT or the ICT sector, because, for example, now we are doing a conference over, Zoom, and this is what technology is doing. So the ICT sector is actually experiencing some growth, and we are finding, with schools, now they're trying to do this whole e-learning. People are working remotely. So there are various aspects of the IT or the ICT industry that is adapting or has come up to light of age because of what's going on. People cannot, again, be able to do business as usual as they used to. So again, business has to continue. And so they have found a way of making sure that business continues, and IT is enabling companies bridge that gap where we can be able to talk to employees wherever they are. If it's an IT company, they can be able to still be productive from their homes. And this definitely has helped the industry. That being said and done, there are still other aspects of the IT part of it that still has been affected by the COVID-19. And there are things that have taken what I think is a pause for now. And as we wait for things to clear up, in my own line of duty, there are some things that we have actually put on hold. And the reason why we put them on hold is because some of them needed some interactions, especially if you're doing some consultation jobs. Yeah, they do need some interactions with people, the human interaction. So that part of it was put on hold. But most of the things that I think that are automated, this is the time for IT to shine. So you're calling where innovation. You're seeing people come up with e-learning platforms where our students can learn. A good example is a guy for Zoom. He was caught unawares, but out of this pandemic, the Zoom people are able to make a lot. The Zoom company is definitely making money. So yeah, I think my take is on the IT side. I think the IT is actually coming out strong on this pandemic.
Excellent. That's great news to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a late entrant to this conversation. He was very busy, but Mr. Sospita Morave, karibu sana. Introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi guys, my name is Sospita Morave, and I'm a father of 4, married. I'm in the travel industry, but at the moment I'm a farmer.
That's good.
Yep.
That's good. So as the conversation is going on, we'll get back to hear more from Sospita as to how he has turned from travel industry to being a farmer. But let's get back to Michael. Michael, what is happening in the global scene or in the African scene because of this COVID-19?
Thank you. Well, just like Sam did, of course, bring a bit earlier in terms of what's happening in one of the sectors, which is IT. But for us, representing sort of a global market and investors, COVID-19, indeed, just like in many other aspects, it has impacted on business. And this is from whether it is large-scale businesses or even small investors, because it was not anything that people were prepared for. Like the way probably you say people are prepared for floods or anything like that. And therefore, what we have seen over time is, the situation is quite unprecedented. Ranging from, of course, companies losing valuation, their company valuation in terms of billions and others billions of shillings. We have seen job cuts. We have seen disruption in supply chains. which initially was seen as confined to certain markets, but now the impact is really being felt even right here in Kenya. Now, looking at Africa, Africa came in a bit late in terms of the COVID situation. When we had, serious issues in places in developing countries, which were key suppliers to Kenya, like China, India, and the US, and of course Africa coming in late. One of the things we saw at a very initial stage is that, for example, if you look at China and India, the two countries combined, they actually supply about 46% of our medical products. And when COVID really struck, or when the first cases were reported and cases were increasing over time, we saw restrictions coming in terms of market protections, because we cannot export to countries, because first of all we have to safeguard our own health system in the country. That is, and of course, what you're able to export. And therefore, that again started spilling out to other sectors. So what we have seen over time is that were not able to meet their, for example, production obligations because of the disruption in supply chains. And in a great extent, it actually exposed countries, especially in Africa, who are heavily dependent in terms of imports of raw materials from other countries, or even finished goods. So what you've seen is that, and again after that, soon after what followed, is a number of countries went to initiate lockdowns, and more so the countries that were heavily affected. Now, lockdowns simply meant that there were no movement of people, traveling of people, international flights. The government, of course, started easing on movement of goods. Therefore, goods could access. But movement of people who are also very critical in terms of business and trade and all that were affected. And therefore, by and large, that's what we have seen. The industry has been affected. And looking at the Kenyan context, it's been much more compounded, bearing in mind that we're also currently experiencing rains which have caused havoc in terms of infrastructure, disruptions as well from the food basket of the country and all that. So that is the kind of situation as is. But we are seeing a new norm being introduced, more so because of the e-commerce. E-commerce has come and has started engineering the way we are buying things. Thank God, the good thing about Kenya is that even pre-COVID, we were already sort of doing very well in terms of e-commerce. So it was not a new norm to Kenya. Perhaps what has been a new norm is our work style, because now we are working remotely, working from home, which many people are not used to, and therefore adapting to this new technology, adapting to the aspect that you have to go online to have it, has been one of the major changes we have seen with many people. But I think as time goes by, it is still very hard to predict what will become tomorrow, but there's every hope to be sure that e-commerce will play a very positive role. And in any case, digital space will play a very important role to push the business sector ahead.
Great. That's good to hear coming from you. Not everyone was prepared for this, but people are becoming resilient. Mr. Manathe, tell us, industry yenyu, how have you moved from the aeroplanes to a farmer?
Well, we started the experience in this maybe mid-February around there. That's when we started having those effects, because most of our clientele are business people who travels to China and other places. But come March, after the airspace was locked, that's the time we decided now to do other things. It has been tough, but
We seem to have lost him there. All right, we'll get him. Oh, he's back. He's back. Let me bring him back to finish that. Yes, we have you back now.
Sorry, yeah. So what I'm saying, we started having this go slow around mid-March there. No, February. But come March, after now the airspace was closed, we went out of business completely. We don't know how long it will take, but at the moment we are just waiting, hoping that things will go back to normal. Maybe by July, August, around there.
Okay. All right. So what are you farming?
Right now I'm doing farming. I'm planting beans and maize and trees. I'm keeping myself busy. Otherwise, I can't stay in the house.
good, good. That's good to hear. Jen,
Yeah.
it's so interesting that all of you have not only saying that the industry is going down, but you have a positive message. One of the things maybe we are doing this differently is because we are all believers and we believe in God and what God is doing in this season. But before we get to that, we will take a break and get back into praise. And we have our praise team ready to glorify God and tell God that He is worthy. We will be back shortly.
Hallelujah. Oh, yeah. Nani kama wewe, nakuinua Mungu wangu leo. Nani kama wewe, nakupenda. Oh, nani kama wewe, nakuinua Mungu wangu leo. Nani kama wewe, nakupenda. Oh, nani kama wewe, nakuinua Mungu wangu leo. Nani kama wewe, nakupenda. Nani kama wewe, nakuinua Mungu wangu leo. Nani kama wewe, nakupenda. Oh, nani kama wewe, nakuinua Mungu wangu leo. Nani kama wewe, nakupenda. Ati nini sema nani kama wewe, nakuinua Mungu wangu leo. Nani kama wewe, nakupenda. Oh, enzini pako nakuinua Baba, enzini pako nakupenda. Ati nini sema nani kama wewe, nakuinua Mungu wangu leo. Nani kama wewe,
Thank you, praise team. God richly bless you. We're going to get back straight into business. Where is God in all this? As a church or as people who believe in God, where is the hope in this? You've told us IT is doing well, and we thank God for it. But we can hear of the airline industry that is down. There are people that are losing their jobs. There are people that you are an employer, and if I don't have business, there's nothing I can do. What is your message for people in this time and in God? Mr. Michael, let's start with you.
Thank you, Pastor. That's a very good question. Number one, like I said, the COVID situation is not anything that has ever been known by anybody. You know, it's a situation that has caught everyone. We didn't know how to get out of this situation, even how to handle it. And then when you see things that are beyond you, that's when you see the bigger factor, which is God. Where governments are really, getting to a point of some of them despair. We have seen very interesting things happen in social media across the world in different countries. But then for us as believers, we have some cardinal sort of, cardinal sort of responsibility, not even just responsibility, but we have a stand. And one of the things is we cannot pray any different in terms of responding to what is happening in the situation. Therefore, for me, at the very basic of it is that we need to be, as believers, people who, number one, of course, are also very keen to what the government directives are and being on the forefront to implement this. I have always told people around me is that it is never the best time to blame the government of the day or even the authorities of the day. But it is for such a time as this that you may stand, just like Mordecai told Esther, it's such a time as this, you never know why you are in the palace. So these things, much as they might be beyond ourselves and our ability, they're happening at such a time as this, and we are there to witness them, that we may also entreat our living God, our Maker, over these issues. I was just so a clip somewhere of something, and the person taking the clip was saying, only God can actually stop this. And that is where we are in. And we know that as believers, that this is a storm. It will come and go. And there have been many other storms affecting the world even before, and they have come and gone. But how are we left? When the foundations are shaken, where are we as believers? And for me, this is a time that should strengthen more our faith in God and stand. Let's not just join the common voice outside there, but let us know it's also a time to be solutions to the nation. Remember this, any times we have had difficult times in our nation, even the leadership of the nation has been quick to say, where is the church? People have been fast to say, where is the church? Where are you when these things will happen? Even elections, we have seen that. And I want to believe that this is no different from such kind of a thing. There will be a portion of people, because people need hope. What right now is needed is hope. And I think as we are moving towards flattening the curve and coming out of the COVID situation, there's need for a voice of hope. And that voice of hope is coming from the church, from me and you. And for me, from a business point of view, I'm really inculcating a lot of it in my engagements with the business community to really put out the need to see that there is a tomorrow, there is hope, and they can never be better put as it can be by the church. Thank you.
Amen. That's awesome to hear that the church is the hope even during this season. That is why we are here every evening to speak to you, to tell you what God has put in our spirit. Sam, what do you have to say about it?
Where is God in all this? I believe God is still above, still in heaven. The heaven kingdom is not affected by the COVID-19. And he is still on the throne. I remember a verse in the book of Psalm 46:10 that says, "Be still and know that I am God, and I'll be exalted in all the nations and in all the earth." So in this season, I believe he's still God. And for us as a church, as the body of Christ, we are all going through a lot of things and a lot of turmoil. As my brother Murabe has said, who is in the airline business and others in the hospitality, and also Brother Michael, who is in the trade and now in the IT, we are all affected. We are all affected in one way or the other. And I don't think this situation has caught us unawares. I think God knew, and he's putting us in preparation. when he says that we wait upon him, those who wait upon him, he renews their strength. And it may seem tough. It may seem tough for us because business is not usual anymore. I think the new term that everyone is using is business is not as usual as it will be or as it was. So my take is we wait on God. This thing, there is nothing we as a man or we as a human can do. Neither the governments of the world can do. It has gone beyond the wisdom of man. If it was for me, if it was for what man could do, I'm sure we could avoid this out. A lot of nations are crying. A lot of businesses are crying out. They reopen. Let's reopen. Let's do this. For us, again, we have had two cities, two towns that have been locked down as of the last 24 hours. There are people who are in the business communities who are there in Mombasa and Isili. I believe they are believers who are also living in those towns, and they have prayed. We have prayed, amen. And for us, we leave it to God. What else can we do? I think this is where we say imefika mwisho ya mwanadamu. Na ikifika kwa mwisho ya mwanadamu, sisi tunaachia Mungu, because now there's nothing else we can do. But let's hold one another as brothers and sisters in Christ. And I think the best we can do as a church is continue encouraging one another. Let people know that they're not alone. We're all going through this together.
Great. All right. When it gets to another level, you leave it unto God. Mr. Morave, where is God in all this?
God is still God, and what we have been doing, I think we have been taking things for granted. But now it has reached a point where God wants to show us that everything that we do is a privilege. Most of the time we just wake up, you shower, you put on your good suit, you go to work, you wait until 5, then you go back home, you shower, you sit and do your own things, you go to the laptop and do ABCD. Then it becomes a norm. Every day you are doing something. Every day from Monday to Friday you are working. After work, maybe you have some other works, other duties you are doing. We take things for granted, but now it has reached a point where we have known that God is the one who controls everything. And after this problem, I'm sure people will not be taking this for granted, and we will always be appreciating whatever we do. We will always be thanking God. Going even to church, we have been thinking maybe you wake up one day and then you decide, no, I don't feel like going to church. I will do it on Facebook or something like that. But now we know that all these things we do is just by grace of God. So you should not take anything for granted. And I want to assure my friends and the church that after this COVID-19, things will go back to normal. We'll pick again, and those who have lost their jobs, they will get back their jobs, and things will go back to normal. And after that, we will be appreciating whatever God gives us.
Good.
So that's my take.
Good. I like that. We have for granted, and God had to ensure that He shows us that He is God, and everything will come back to normal. I'm also in business, and I'm also a pastor, and it's so interesting that during this time, even when business is going down, for me, I think the key thing would be: can we take this time to seek God more? Can we take this time to spend more understanding how God works? This did not come as a surprise to God. This did not come to finish us. But what is the purpose of God in this? Bishop has been having a very good sermon series on that. Maybe go to our pages and look at it. But also just get a time. I don't think we have gotten an opportunity to be seated in the house. I think it's going to be 42 days. Praying and believing that there's no extension. 42 days of people being told to stay in. I think the only one that can rival that is Noah, that was there when it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. But as for 42 days, you've been told to sit in. Let us take time to seek God. Before we go on another break, maybe guys, you can tell me, what is the one thing you miss the most? What is the one thing that you feel I was really taking this for granted? I really would wish to have it back. Quickly, Sam, let's start with you. Oh, sorry. There we go.
Oh, there we go. I could have diversified my portfolio.
Sorry?
Concentrated on any other thing. I could have diversified and gotten into maybe other businesses out there that survive also the COVID-19.
Okay.
Maybe get some other source of income.
Get another source of income. Interesting. Mr. Mike.
Yeah, another source of income.
Of course, this has really disrupted many things from a personal point of view, personal life, and of course, work-wise. Of course, I miss those times we'll do some, what we call some small road trips with the family and even walk freely. Right now, I just watch my kids literally stuck in the house, and the farthest they can see is just outside the window, and that is really something that I wish to see coming back to life. Of course, being the fact that you can't, even if you leave the house, you're only leaving straight to the office. You can't go pretty much anywhere. You can't walk around the city you love, much. That is something that I really miss. I think normal life is really something that has been disrupted. But from a work point of view, I also miss the fact that I'm able to, I've not, initially I'll be able to meet with my clients one-on-one. The fact that we are all engaging and, online, it is something else that is a new norm that sometimes I feel like I'm not given the best I want. But most of all, I miss church really. I miss that aspect of being around the church. It's something that I miss so much. So there's quite a lot that has been really disrupted.
Good. Mr. Marade, what do you miss?
Mm-hmm. Once again, I want just to state that what I've been. Hello, you can get me?
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, a call was coming in. What I'm saying, I miss what we have been doing before, like even the kids going to school. We have the issue here is, to me, I think we have been taking so many things for granted. Now this is the time I'm realizing we're supposed to go out of the box. Like we're supposed to have side hustles. I have learned so many things about this. Not only to rely on one business. If it's possible to do a number of things, and then also to appreciate where our kids go to school, when they come back home on a Sunday, you take them out for outing. Those are some of the things we are missing. And we have been taking those things for granted. We just think it's kawaida thing. That one Sunday you just wake up, you go to church, you come back, then you go out. Now going even to the church and having our time with our friends out there is what we are missing most.
Good.
But all in all, this will come back and we'll have fun once more.
Good. That's so interesting. The two of you, I think, have mentioned about side hustles. I think you're going to get into that, being one of the things that people should do. But I have my praise team here saying that they want to give us another song because it is still 30 Days of Glory. We are still here. Even if it's an interview, there is still God we are here to praise. So we should be back with you.
Uninyunyizia
Now we are back. Thank you very much for joining us again. Thank you, praise team, for that. So the question is, how do I handle my finances during this time? Money is becoming hard to find. Maybe we have people here saying that the businesses are not doing as well as they were. Maybe my salary has gotten a pay cut, or even worse, maybe I do not have a salary. Gentlemen, what would you advise? Even being optimistic as we are that things are going to be different, what do we do? Ni fuliza tutafuliza ziishe, ama tutaenda tuchukue mshwari zote, ama tutaenda tuchukue branch? What are the options? Do we go out for loans? What are the options for us? Let me start with Mr. Morade.
Okay. About the finances, I think this is the time we need to just spend what is necessary. You don't have to do so much. If you are maybe renting a house which is maybe costing you about 25,000, and you can get a better option, instead of accumulating the rent, you are given a break to pay maybe less, about 5,000. Then you are told after 5 months you are going to clear the balance. The best thing to do at the moment is maybe to move to a cheaper house. Okay. And then once things goes back to normal, you can always go to the same house or a different one. But now this is the time you need to spend each and every coin that is coming on your way. If you do a shopping of about 20,000, you can just buy the necessary, just the necessities, what you need most in the house. You don't have to go for everything that you have been buying there before. So the best thing is to just buy what is necessary at the moment. If you are driving and you can take a matatu, why not? You're going to save a lot of money on that. Okay. So the best thing is to just cut your expenses as much as you can as you wait for this problem to be over. And at the moment, and again after this, it's now wise to be saving something for this unseen stuff that are coming on our way. So that's my take.
Okay. All right. Good advice there. Let us try and reduce our spending as much as possible. If you can move out, move out. Whatever you're able to do during this season. Mr. Washira, what do you have to say?
I'll say the same thing as Morado has said there. Yeah. Let's cut down on cost. Let's do what is needed. Let's just get what's necessary. Don't go above and beyond. Cut down cost. When things are too expensive, right now, those things that are not necessary, cut them off. Scale down. Work with what you have. Because again, we are not sure when this will end. We're not sure how, when the next income is coming. So we are finding a lot of people, cutting down corners. So if you, as Morado says, you have to take a matatu, take a matatu. All these other extravagant things, let's cut them out, so that you can extend your runway. In the business term, we call it extending your runway, so that you can be able to get to your destination before your fuel runs out.
True. All right, that's great advice. Let's try to cut down on whatever you can, by just getting on the necessities. Mike, what do you have to say?
Yeah. I think as the two parties, as they have said, this time, even with the hope and faith and all that, it's what many people are sort of calling a period of survival before you're able to come out of the situation. And therefore, every coin counts. Every coin that comes into your earnings, whether at a family point of view or even business point of view, it really counts. And therefore, for me, one of the things that will be very important given this situation is that there's need to do what we may call some self-assessment, or even evaluation. look at what basically you really need and how you can channel your resources, how you can use the existing resources that you do have. You don't necessarily have to go and leave or and try to do things beyond your means. It's important to look at what basically you're able to, what you have, the resources, and then how you can actually channel those resources. Now, and more important actually to say, I think as brother was saying, it's also good to be innovative. It's a stage also that gives an opportunity to be innovative, be a bit diverse, and more so looking at a business point of view. Probably even business will have to revise some business models. I mean, not necessarily focusing on one given area. If you find a channel that is able to give you extra resources, it's also good to consider such kind of opportunities that can be able to diversify your revenue base. But as is, let's also always remember that every resource we have right now counts, and it will contribute to where we want to be the next stage.
Great. That's great news and great advice from all of you. One of the key things I think all of you are saying is save, but also you're talking about new opportunities. What are the opportunities you guys being in the business sector? What are the industries that you see that are looking as if are good during this season? Where can I invest? Rather, we are seeing that you're farming. We all have to eat at one point or the other. What are the key industries that you think are good? Some you mentioned on IT, but you mentioned deals with automation. But what other industries and sectors can I get into? I'm a young person, and I am interested in business. What business would you advise me to get into? Sam, I think let's start with you.
Well, as a young person or somebody looking to come up with something, I think, well, we have farming, as we know people have to eat. Farming is one. I think the other industry is healthcare and IT. But for me, I would say out of the three, the easiest one that will require just your knowledge and understanding will be IT, because if a young person can be able to create something and come up with an innovation, I think the initial cost in IT is very low. For farming, you need land and you need seedlings, so there's some investment that will be required there. In the healthcare, also, I think they have, unless you're a doctor, something. That's another route that also requires quite heavy or substantial amount of money. So something that you can create or you can do. If you have land, then that's another good place. If you have land, family land where you can go and do farming, that's a good place to start. But I would say IT, IT, all you need is just an idea maybe, and if you have a small idea and a laptop and a computer, you can build something that can help out the industry. I can start from there.
All right, good. Mike, as you're answering this question, I want you to put another question to you. I know there's a lot of issues or a lot of news about loans and the government saying that there's a lot of money that is being put in the banks. What is your opinion on one, personal loans and SME loans?
All right, thank you. Thank you, Pastor. I think I'll answer those questions in two ways. Of course, there's the aspect of, first of all, the business opportunities that are available. And for me, my approach is this. Right now, of course, when you look at the market, what seems to be the key thing is provision of essential products. So everybody will, whether you're talking of food, food supply, whether you're talking of medication or healthcare, they seem to be, of course, the key things that to go right now. But of course, all this driven by e-commerce, because I happened to go to one of the restaurants just when we were reporting the first few cases and curfew was being sort of put in place. I happened to walk in one of the cafes, and then I wanted to buy coffee. But of course, as you know, if you've gone to most of these places, they have put seats on one end or even basically closed from operations. And I asked this person, how are you guys managing? And he said, you know what? Actually, this particular time, our business is booming because of e-commerce. we are putting these online and people are actually ordering this because they're at home. And then, of course, we are looking for means to take the products to them. Now, this takes me to, I think every business right now counts, whether you are selling clothes, whether you are having a shop, whether you are you're in the food supply. But you must look at what is the factor that actually takes you to the market. And I think that is where e-commerce has come to really take a place. So for me, it is important that how you've been operating and running your business, look at ways how you can get closer to your customers and how you can maintain that clientele. And I think there's no better way to do that, which is really at a minimized cost than actually making sure you have got some online presence as far as your business is concerned. So that's the way for me I look at it. I mean, COVID situation has really brought a number of innovations among Africans, and especially young people. People who have innovated a few things. We saw what was happening that day at, I think, Jomo Kenyatta University. They came up with the ventilators. We have seen people working on the mask and all such kind of things, and even whether it is food products and everything else. So the opportunities are diverse. It's a matter of how we take advantage of this. But more importantly, if you're running a shop, would you try and move the next step level of formalizing that business? And also the other thing is try to make some online presence of your business. And I think, Pastor, what we've been seeing, especially in the spiritual scene, like the churches, for example, more than any other time, we have seen the church having quite a number of, increased online presence, including ourselves. And perhaps out of this, we'll have more subscription, people more viewing our pages than even we have ever seen before. That is on the business side of it. Now, when it comes to loan, of course, it is of importance that the government provides facilities to the businesses, because even post-COVID, we are not yet out of the woods. Businesses will still need some sort of, a push to be able to sustain in the market, because right now we are talking of survival, but the question is continuity, business continuity even after post-COVID. And therefore, for me, it's a very good thing that the government has provided the facilities. But look at this. Why I mentioned the point of need for, especially the informal sector, looking at formalizing businesses. Because even with the tax relaxation measures that the government put in place, they're very specific. This was on SMEs going upwards in terms of tax relief. But if I was in the informal sector, it did not benefit in any way. And therefore, probably incentives are the things that benefited people in the informal sector. But in terms of accessing facilities, it's a very good thing, because definitely businesses will require some push even after this. They have lost employees, they have lost revenue, therefore loans will help them to move forward. But at the same time, remember that you might not, for example, be able to get a resumption of the clients that you had. Probably along the way, you may lose some of the clients. Again, they have also their own charges in supply chains and other things. But therefore, it is very important to be very prudent in terms of how we apply for these loans and the application of the same. Because remember, at the end of the day, even if you take a loan, you still have to pay it. You still have to pay back to the bank at the end of it all. And therefore, looking at all those measures, it's good to know how to go about it. But at the same time, they are important. Finances to move forward will be a very key thing. And the other thing is access to information, because many business people, will sit back and they'll not even go looking for the information. Where can I get the facility? And by the way, remember this, even before COVID and years back, we have been having the youth fund. We have been having the Women Enterprise Fund. But the question would be, how many people were accessing these out of an information point of view? Therefore, really making sure that we are also arming ourselves with information on where I can go and start is also very important. And also get to know the people around you, whether in the industry or even the right access points. Walk to your bank and discuss business models. Because at the end of the day, also, let me tell you this, even the banks will be cautious as they lend. That's what I perceive in terms of the business model, because they're also looking at how are you planning to move post the situation. Therefore, looking at our business models is a very important thing, so that even if I approach my bank to discuss a loan or a facility, the business model is also very sound, not because the loan is available. Over to you. Thank you.
Good. That's great. We seem to have lost one of our participants. I think he's joined back. He should be back shortly. One of the key things I think for me would be the final questions as Morada gets back. One, you mentioned innovation. As a country, I think one of the blessings, just guys, in my opinion, has been us seeing the capacity to produce our own things. One, you mentioned our ventilators. JQuat and other ventilators, I think they had 9 ventilators we were trying to find out or pass whether they could be used. We had an issue of masks, and all of a sudden, Ankara masks are everywhere. People coming up to say that we have the capacity to do this. What else don't we know we can do? What other crises do we need to get into to understand that we also have the capacity to produce? So quickly, guys, maybe you can tell me, in terms of our own creativity or creating our own things, what is the way forward? Sam, let me start with you.
I think for us, we just need to come up. We need to believe ourselves as a people. Number one, that we are more than capable of doing this, and so and policies made around this with governments, especially government institutions, that we as a people are very capable, and we can make our own solutions. So I don't think we need any other awakening. We already have seen that we are capable. So now we need to encourage this generation and the upcoming generations to start innovating, start making things. And these things should be given priority over other solutions that are coming up from outside the world or from the Western world. And once we as a people appreciate the knowledge that we have, I think we shall go far. I think we shall stop being so dependent on, the Western world to bring for us solutions where we can be able to make them. I think this is a discussion that can go. It's a very broad discussion, but for the sake of time, I think let's start with empowering our young people, empowering the current industries that are there, and also pushing our leaders to start implementing ready-made solutions that are here in the country. Let's start using the ready-made intellectual that's here in the country instead of sourcing it from out there. Then I think we shall see the growth that we as a people or we as a race need to get to the next level.
Absolutely, that's amazing. I like that what you've said. Let us have policies also in place to ensure that the local manufacturer or the local supplier is given preference. Mike, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I think very much as also as Sam has alluded. Number one of the blessings we have as a country and as a continent is the youthful generation that we have. We have got young people abundant, full of skills and innovation. And I think difficult situations like this have actually shown Africa's potential that actually is able to stand, not necessarily depending on other parts of the world. And again, remember, we are all of us at a level playing field as a globe because of the COVID situation. So in a way, we have been forced to depend on our capacity and our potential, even as a country, so as to come out of this situation. I think going forward, policies really is one of the things that Sam has pointed out, which is very important as a country. And we are not without policies. We do have policies as a country. It is time that we looked at these policies and made them work for the benefit of the citizens. And even those ones that probably could not be in resonance with the market. Let us see how we model them to respond to the market needs and more so to the young people that are very innovative in our times. The other thing is that we are abundant of raw materials. But again, for long, we've been exporting, our exports are heavily compressed of raw materials. We need to move from really just exporting raw materials as a country, as a continent, to value addition. And more so as a country because we are devolved. We are a devolved country whereby we're able to identify resources, opportunities at the county level, in any case, even at the world level. Now, with the technical institutions that we have, can we see how we are able to house the innovations that are happening within our localities through those technical institutions? because then that is one of the other things that we also need to emphasize on. And then also the incubation centers. I think there's need to, as a country, to push more on devolving incubation centers, such that there's no idea that is lost. Sometimes you go to the media and see what's happening in different parts of the country, and that's an innovation either aired on media or even reported, but again, after that, it is literally lost. We are abundant of all these things. I think it's time that we work as a government, as a private sector, and the church also. The church is a very social institution that is able to identify the gifts among its people. And we should not really shy away simply because we are the church from really getting into the innovation space. We have young people, we can come together and even get to understand the ideas that are amongst us and promote those ideas. Let's take those ideas to the market and let them work. If I know that I'm able to help you access a certain platform, I mean, and of course you have got certain skills that I do not have, you can combine that capacity and take it to the market, and it's going to be a solution to people outside there. But I'm very optimistic after this COVID situation that we are going to have a very resilient society and the young people in terms of accessing and taking advantage of opportunities.
Thank you for that. Seem to have lost one of our participants. Thank you guys for joining us. I'll give you 1 minute each just to conclude. I think you've given us such good information about what we need to do during this time, that there is still hope, that we are always here saying that there is hope even in a hopeless situation. The book of Genesis, the book of Hebrews tells us about Abraham. It tells us against hope, in hope Abraham believed. And so my parting shot before I gave it to the rest of you would be, there is hope for tomorrow because Jesus is the one that holds tomorrow. If this was not a surprise to him, then he has a solution for all of us. So gentlemen, hopefully Morada will be back by then. Let me start with Sam. Sam, maybe you can tell us in parting shot, what would you have to say? Ukiambia watu kwaheri.
For me, my parting shot is thank you, Pastor, for this opportunity, and the panelists, Michael and Sospita. Let's continue having hope. This is not the end of the world. I believe with this pandemic comes it's an awakening call for us. People need to wake up and think outside the box. Actually, there was a person who said, don't even put the box in the equation. Just think, you know. And I think we as a people are supposed to be, we shall come out stronger and better. These are times for us to reflect. And once all this dust has settled down, I believe we shall come out better, stronger, and with more wiser. So I think let's continue being strong in this time.
Great. Mr. Michael, your parting shot.
Thank you. Well, post-COVID is still alive, and there is still much more for us to do. I think this is a time to keep on better positioning ourselves. What we have seen elsewhere, even the countries that started off with COVID, like China, they have assumed on business, they have assumed on production, and which is also a good example. Just like we took an example from them in terms of running safety measures, the same way we need to also see what they are doing in terms of business, and really encourage ourselves that even after this, everything will come back to normal. But let it not come back to normal and leave you the same way as you are as a person. Every situation, every difficult circumstance that comes on your way, it depends on how you want to look at it. It can leave you a better person or even worse than it found you. And I think for us, my prayer is that it leaves us better people. Let's stand and see and even ask ourselves, how can I be a better solution to whatever comes to me? There will always be challenges, but even with challenges, giants are produced. Better people are produced who can stand in society to do greater things. And it's my time and it's your time. Thank you.
Excellent. I like that very much.
Thank you very much to our panelists. Thank you, Sam Ashura. Thank you, Michael. Even Sospita, we lost you towards the end, but we give God all the glory. key takeouts for me from this conversation. One, God is still God. Regardless of whatever is happening, God still reigns and God still is working and moving. Second, takeout, that there is still something happening. There is still something you can do. There's still industries that are working. So what is it that you have that you can do? We met Sospita, who has turned from the tourism industry to being a farmer. Third, take out for me, that innovation is still happening even in this space. Things are going to go back to normal. What are the options that you have? Take time to seek God even in this season. The panelists spoke about side hustles. Maybe I should become a news presenter myself. But what else can you do? This is an opportunity that enables us to go back and search deeply within ourselves and ask ourselves, what is there more in me that God has created for this time? I don't know what you're going through when you're back there at home when you're listening to us. But the key reason we chose to bring people who are in business and in the industry in this season or in this time is to tell you that there is still hope for tomorrow. It's told that Abraham, in against hope, in hope he lived. Michael told us about Esther for such a time and seasons as this. So even at such a time and a season as this, Africa is coming out to look like the next gen of the world. We are realizing that we can create. We've been doing masks. We've been doing ventilators. What else can you do? What else has God stored in you? Our bishop has been telling us about it is time for Africa and a message specifically for this continent. And you and I are this continent. And I believe God is going to transform this nation and this world with us. So thank you for joining us. Before I let you go, we'll say a word of prayer. It is still an opportunity to believe in this God, that in this season and time, there's still people that are speaking faith. Mighty and everlasting Father, thank you. Thank you, King of Kings. Thank you, Lord of Lords. Thank you that you are reigning. Thank you that you are God. Thank you that you never change. Thank you that you are glorious. God, everyone listening to this tonight, that touch them, O Father. Minister to them, O God. Mend the broken heart, O God. Encourage the crushed spirit. That, Father God, you hold the future and you're going to do something new even in this season. We thank you, we bless you, and we praise you in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you for joining us. See you tomorrow. God richly bless you. Amen.